Bienvenidos, les saluda Rafael Contreras. Colorado se prepara para una de las elecciones de medio término más importantes. Una que podrá decidir el control de la Cámara de Representantes en la capital del país. Esta semana los dos demócratas que compiten para representar al 8º Distrito Congresional de Colorado participaron en un foro aquí mismo en la Universidad de Northern Colorado en Greeley. Se trata de la ex representante estatal Shannon y el representante estatal Manny Rutinel. Ahora, un día antes del encuentro, el demócrata Evan Musin, veterano de las Fuerzas Armadas de Estados Unidos, quien era el tercer aspirante, puso fin a su campaña. Aquí parte de la conversación junto a mis colegas Taylor Dobin y Jesse Paul de The Colorado Sun.
So let's begin with opening statements per random draw. Representative Byrd will be going first. You'll have 2 minutes, and in turn, you'll go last on closing remarks.
Excellent. Well, first, thank you so much to the Colorado Sun and to the University of Northern Colorado for hosting this debate this evening. I'm Shannon Byrd. I was raised by my single mother and my grandmother. I grew up in a trailer park. My grandmother shared her tip money with our family to help us keep a roof over our heads, and that tip money also helped me become the first person in my family to go to college. I got my start in public service by volunteering in my kids' classrooms. And that's when I fell in love with serving my community. I had the opportunity to run for the state legislature, and during that time, I worked hard and was able to pass the bill and write the budget to fully fund Colorado's public schools for the first time in 15 years. I stood up to big health insurance companies to cut red tape and expand access to health care and bring costs down. I also championed a multi-year effort to make sure that Colorado would be a more affordable place to live by expanding construction of affordable housing and building condominiums again. And now, I'm running for Congress because every day, Gabe Evans and Donald Trump are making it harder for families like the one I grew up in to have a fair shot at success. Every day, we see Gabe Evans casting votes that show he answers to the president, not to the people of this district. He voted to rip away health care from tens of thousands of people in our state. He has been a cheerleader and a supporter of Donald Trump's war in the Middle East and the imposition of tariffs, which have caused costs to go through the roof for all of us. That needs to stop. This district deserves a fighter, somebody who knows how to get things done who answers to you and not the president. I'm thrilled to be here today to share my thoughts, and again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Byrd. Representative Rutinel.
First off, I want to thank all of y'all for being here. UNC, Colorado Sun, Univision. Thank you for participating in our democracy, especially in this moment. We need leaders who will stand up to Donald Trump. Let's just sit with that. Right now, Donald Trump and Gabe Evans are destroying our democracy, and they're sending masked ICE agents to terrorize communities like ours. For me, this fight is personal. I'm the son of a single immigrant mom who came to America in search of that American dream. We worked hard every single day for this country, but we still struggled. I remember being 10 years old the first time I filled out Medicaid and food stamp forms. The same programs that Donald Trump and Gabe Evans are destroying to give tax breaks to their billionaire donors. It was because of those programs, and because I worked at McDonald's and I sold my blood at a plasma center over 100 times to the point where I've got a scar on my arm. It was because of that I was able to make my way into college. And then I became an economist with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, where I swore an oath to defend our Constitution against enemies, both foreign and domestic. And then I became a legislator where I co-sponsored over 400 laws to lower costs, including in housing and healthcare, and stop Donald Trump's corrupt practices, his invasion into our schools and hospitals with his masked ICE agents. And unfortunately, there was only one Democrat that voted with Republicans to allow police to cooperate with ICE and allow ICE to raid our schools and hospitals, and that was Shannon Byrd. And I can't tell you how much that hurt me and my family. We need real leadership in Congress to stand up to this administration and fight for working families. That's what I've always done, and that's what I'll do in Congress.
Voters in the 8th Congressional District have consistently said the cost of living is a top issue for them. What are 3 things you would do in Congress to drive down costs for people living in the 8th District?
Thank you. The first thing, costs, we are hearing this everywhere. Since I have been in this campaign, I've made over 170 stops throughout this district. And without a doubt, people are concerned about the cost of their utility bills, the cost of their groceries, everyday items. And in Congress, we can take important action to rein those costs in, notably stopping Donald Trump's tariffs. To the extent any tariffs remain, we need legislative action to repeal those tariffs and start bringing costs down immediately. I want everyone to know that a tariff is a tax, and in our federal government, the only part of government that can levy a tax is Congress, and we need to take that power back. Next, the war in Iran needs to stop. Since that war began, our gas prices have increased by over 52% per gallon. That's outrageous. So many people are struggling with now higher gas prices. That means less food they can put on the table for their families. Donald Trump and his administration, backed up by Gabe Evans, have also voted to cut tax credits and grant programs that we used here in Colorado to scale up renewable energy. And we know that is the most cost-effective source of energy. Those grants need to be restored, and so do those tax credits, so we can bring down people's utility bills. And that's the work I intend to do in Congress.
Representative Rutinel, same question for you.
Yeah, the issue of affordability is deeply personal for me, like I know it is for so many of you. Like I said, I'm the son of a single mom, and we grew up on Medicaid and food stamps. And right now, Donald Trump has gutted those programs to the tune of $1 trillion to give tax breaks to his billionaire buddies. We need to roll that back and bring those healthcare savings back to our constituents. Also, every single time we're driving on the road, we're seeing how gas prices go up and up and up. And now it's 50% more than when the Iran war started. Donald Trump is sending us into these forever wars without any plans, putting American lives at risk and raising gas prices and prices across the board for working families like mine. We also need to be dealing with the housing crisis. I'm one of a few renters in the Colorado General Assembly. I've seen my rent go up 15% year over year. We need to make sure that we are streamlining building for homeowners so that they can build that accessible dwelling unit, and make sure that we build more affordable units for so many of us that want to be able to live closer to our families or live closer to work. I'll also add that I've been going up and down the district to these in-person town halls that Gabe Evans refuses to go to because he's scared of his own constituents. And when people come up to me, they tell me that they feel like they've been lied to. They said that Donald Trump and Gabe Evans were going to go after grocery costs, and instead they're starting trade wars and putting these corrupt tariffs that are causing our grocery prices to go up.
All right, we need to wrap up this answer.
Both of you have said that you want a public health insurance option, not Medicare for all. How would that work, and who would pay for it?
Sure, beginning with this, every one of us deserves access to affordable health care. It's not a question, and we need to never be afraid of being one illness away from bankruptcy. This is a problem that has only gotten worse under the Trump administration, as he has done everything he can, along with Gabe Evans, to rip away health care and cause our costs to increase. A very strong opportunity that we will have in the next Congress is to create a public option. And that could be a government-run alternative as a source of insurance, or it could be operated by a not-for-profit. And that opportunity would create lower cost option for people who would prefer that and maybe can't afford a private option. But the existence of the public option in the marketplace will help drive down costs for the rest of us who are purchasing private health insurance. So it benefits the entire market.
All right. I might have missed it, but how do you pay for it? I guess is the big question.
I believe that we need to make our tax code fairer. And through H.R. 1, Gabe Evans and Donald Trump wound up slashing so many things, investments in so many different core programs for us, all to offer tax breaks to his billionaire buddies. Those tax breaks need to be ended so that we can reinvest in programs that benefit all of us.
All right, thank you. Representative Rutinel.
We need a public option, and we need the wealthy to pay for what they're taking from working families right now. Like I said, a family of four just went from $500 a month to $2,000 a month. $500 a month was already too expensive for so many families. And by the way, that $2,000 a month cost means that folks are going to get off of their health insurance. They won't go to the doctor, and they'll wait until they have to go to an emergency room, which means that those costs will get passed down to all of us. So it raises costs on all of us. This isn't just about the lowest income Americans. This is about raising costs on all of us. We need universal health care that prioritizes affordability and accessibility for all Americans. And I think if we had a fair tax code that caused the wealthy to pay their fair share, we can afford these things.
Ya regresamos con más de Camino al Congreso.
En Colorado, las historias que importan tienen nombre.
Comunidad.
Somos los primeros en informarte y los que nunca se van.
¿Nos puede mostrar un poquito de esa área, por favor? Lo acompañamos.
Tu seguridad, tu dinero, tu familia es nuestra misión.
Miles de coloradenses.
Con el equipo número 1 en noticias en español en Colorado.
Tendremos más información.
A las 5 y a las 10, donde nuestra gente se informa.
En Denver, la voz está más fuerte que nunca.
Noticias Colorado, el canal de la comunidad.
Thank you for being here. I'm Rafael Contreras with Univision Colorado. It is very important that we're having this conversation. Let's move along, and we'll do it with immigration. Both of you have said that U.S. immigration and customs enforcement should not be abolished, but you've said that it should be changed. If you could remake the agency, how specifically would you do that? And we'll start with Representative Byrd.
Excellent. Thank you. What we are seeing with Donald Trump's immigration enforcement policy is dangerous and un-American. Both he and Gabe Evans promised us that immigration enforcement would be prioritizing and going after people who were here to hurt us, and we have seen anything but. ICE needs to be completely overhauled and led by actual people with knowledge of what law enforcement is. But what that overhaul begins with is banning face masks. No member of law enforcement should be able to go unidentified into any community. We need to mandate body cameras that produce reviewable footage by citizens, so we can hold ICE accountable. And it means on a national level that we are banning ICE activity from our public schools, hospitals, courthouses, and places of worship. And it means that when ICE agents break the law, we are holding them completely accountable. It also means ending warrantless searches. We have got to stop this, and this is work that I am excited to get started on as this district's next member of Congress.
Thank you. Representative Rutinel.
Thank you for the question, and thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, especially because this district is 40% Latino. It's the most Latino district in the entire state, one of the most Latino in the entire country. As y'all can imagine, this issue is deeply personal for me as the son of an immigrant single mom with an accent and a darker skin complexion. To know that there are ICE agents right now that are patrolling our streets to terrorize communities like mine, stop people like my mom because of her skin tone and her accent, it infuriates me. And in the Colorado legislature, when Donald Trump unleashed ICE, Democrats came together to stop ICE from raiding our schools and hospitals, and I can't tell you how disappointed I was when Shannon Byrd was the only Democrat to vote with Republicans to allow police to cooperate with ICE and let ICE raid our schools and hospitals. We need strong leadership that will take on Donald Trump and his masked ICE agents. That means that ICE agents shouldn't be wearing masks. That means that they should be focused on gangsters, not grandmas. That means that they should be using judicial orders and following our Constitution just like any other federal official should. This district understands the struggles of what it means when Donald Trump sends his ICE agents into our communities to terrorize us. And we need real leadership who will stand up to Trump. And that's what I've done, and that's what I'll do.
Representative Byrd, he did name you, so if you'd like to respond, 30 seconds.
Thank you. I want to repeat this one more time. I do not support allowing ICE into public schools or hospitals. Representative Rutinel continues to mischaracterize my vote and tear me down to distract you all from the fact that he has accepted over $100,000 in campaign contributions from employees of an ICE contractor. So you can go look that up yourselves. That is publicly verifiable information.
Representative Rutinel, go ahead.
I am the only person on this stage that has never accepted a penny from corporate PACs. Shannon Byrd, during her time in the legislature, was one of the top recipients of corporate PAC donations. And she quit the legislature, which is good news and bad news. Good news is it means she can't keep voting with ICE. Bad news is now she's trying to run for Congress to vote with ICE in Congress.
All right. I'll give you 30 seconds, and if you want 30 more seconds, but then we'll move on.
Indeed, I am accepting no corporate PAC money, and in fact, I was the first candidate in this race to sign a pledge to unrig Washington. Again, another mischaracterization and distraction from the fact that Representative Rutinel has only raised about 10% of his funds for his campaign from people here in Colorado, compared to the over 85% that I have raised from people here in Colorado. And my campaign is supported by individuals, labor unions, and progressive organizations who support electing Democrats, and I'm very proud to have had the support I've had.
All right, 30 seconds, and then we're going to move on.
Our campaign is funded by over 65,000 individual donors who have donated an average of $27 into our campaign without a single penny from corporate PACs. I encourage Shannon Byrd to return all of the money that she's gotten over her career from corporate PACs, and I encourage all of us to take on the dark money groups that are trying to buy our elections and billionaires that are trying to divide and conquer us by enabling folks like Shannon Byrd to vote with ICE agents and in favor of large corporations against working people.
Thank you.
We have other important questions. Earlier this month, a federal judge ruled that ICE officers in Colorado are still making unlawful warrantless arrests. As a member of Congress, how exactly will you use your oversight power and bully pulpit to force accountability? And we'll start with Representative Rutinel.
When I get to Congress, I want to be part of the Oversight Committee so that I can subpoena and hold the feet to the fire of every single Trump enabler in his administration. And I also want to do that against any single leader in that administration that is raiding our schools and hospitals and engaging in unconstitutional behavior, because we need real leadership in Congress on this issue. These ICE agents are terrorizing our communities. They're doing so by targeting people because of their skin tone, because of their accents, targeting people like my mom. Every single time I think about that ICE vote, when Shannon Byrd sided with Republicans, it breaks my heart. And I know that so many of my colleagues, the Democrats that stood up to Donald Trump, were just incredibly disappointed. We need folks who will stand up to Trump and have the toughness to do so.
Representative Byrd.
Thank you. Continuing to say the same things doesn't make it true. And I encourage you all to go and look for yourself and see who is funding Representative Rutinel's campaign. And you will understand the distraction that is being thrown your way tonight.
Can you answer that question, though, as a member of Congress? How would you use your oversight power on ICE?
Absolutely. We need to pass federal legislation that stops and ends warrantless arrests. That is the important thing to have happen first as a matter of first recourse. Beyond that, we also have an important tool open to us, and as the former chair of our state's budget committee, this is a power I exercise frequently to make sure that the laws we passed and even our executive and our agencies were held accountable for serving the good people here in Colorado. You hold up funding for things when agencies aren't behaving well, when they're not delivering, when they're not respecting the people's rights. And that is what I intend to do in Congress. I am about making things effective, using all of the tools at my disposal. It is why I was named the #1 most effective lawmaker in the state of Colorado. I will use all of those skills at my disposal. And in addition to that, absolutely using committee oversight responsibility to draw attention so that the public knows when agencies aren't following the will of Congress.
A yes or no question for both of you. We'll start with you, Representative Byrd. Do you agree with the decision by, Senate Democrats to not fund Department of Homeland Security over concerns about ICE?
Yes.
And
Yes.
Representative Rutinel?
Yes.
Beyond ICE, what should happen to millions of immigrants who are already living in the United States without the proper authorization? And we'll start this time with Representative Byrd.
We need immigration reform. That has to happen. And the first thing that needs to happen is passing the DREAM Act. We need to protect DACA recipients in this country. We also need to create a path to citizenship for people who have come to our country, who want to work, be reunited with their families, be part of our communities. They need that opportunity to do so. And we also need to reform our system of asylum so that people are not waiting for years and years for an immigration determination hearing. We need to fund more judges so that those hearings can happen and that people are given the opportunity for a fair, fast, and final determination.
Representative Rutinel.
We need comprehensive immigration reform, and that starts by making sure that DACA recipients have a pathway to citizenship, that dreamers have an ability to continue contributing to our country the ways that they have for so long. This is an issue that is deeply in the bones of this district. It's a 40% Latino district that has so many immigrants coming in from all parts of the world looking for that American dream. And everywhere they go now, they have to face these masked ICE agents that are looking to terrorize their communities, rip families apart. That's not what so many folks across this country actually wanted. When I go to these in-person town halls, people tell me how much they feel like they've been lied to. That Donald Trump said that he was going to go after the hardened criminals, and instead he is ripping families apart. Now folks look in their neighborhoods, and so many homes are empty. Homes that were full of families that were just trying to work hard and provide for their families, provide for their communities. I'm honored to be endorsed by so many groups that represent so many immigrants, like the United Farm Workers, folks who are just trying to work hard, but everywhere they go, they're being met by masked ICE agents terrorizing their communities.
A quick follow-up regarding DACA. Should DACA recipients get a pathway to citizenship immediately, and how would you work with your colleagues in Congress? We've seen this for so many years, and this community feels that they have not gotten an answer. Representative Rutinel.
Yeah, absolutely. DACA recipients are our friends and family members, our neighbors. They're folks who came here, they were brought here, and they want to work hard. They want to provide for their communities. They deserve an opportunity to live out that American dream as citizens. I'll do what I did for years now in the Colorado legislature when I've co-sponsored over 400 laws, many of which have been to work across the aisle. From folks across the political spectrum, there's an opportunity here for us to be able to find common ground. And unfortunately, it means that we're going to have to win back this seat and win back Congress so that we can have that additional leverage to be able to pass these types of important policies, especially given that Donald Trump has been such an obstacle to immigration reform everywhere we look. So that's where I'll start.
Representative Byrd.
Absolutely, we need reform. And what that starts with is finding that willing coalition. This is something that is one of the best parts of lawmaking, is going and finding those people who will be fellow problem solvers with you. It's something I have done as a state legislator time and time again. It's how I was able to champion a years-long effort in reform how we start building condominiums in our state again, one of the biggest problems that has impacted our state and impacted affordable housing. But at a federal level, there are representatives across the country on both sides of the aisle who share this concern. We have seen bipartisan efforts at a federal level to come together and try to solve the immigration challenges that our state or country actually have had. Those people need to be brought back together. It's a coalition of the willing. Find necessary compromise and make this a priority. This is something, it's an issue that deserves more than lip service, which is what our current government has been doing for too long. We need doers, we need fighters, we need people who know how to get things done. I will underscore this is exactly in my wheelhouse. It's why I was named the #1 most effective lawmaker in this state. I'm going to take that skill set with me, go find that coalition of the willing, and fight for the immigrants in this community.
All right, thank you so much, Representative Byrd, and thank you, Rafael, and our friends at Noticias Univision Colorado.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ya regresamos con más de Camino al Congreso.
Cuando algo sacude la ciudad, nosotros ya estamos en vivo, más cerca de ti, más rápido, más conectados contigo, porque la historia arranca con nosotros. Si pasa, lo ves aquí.
Should Congress consider increasing the age at which people can begin collecting Social Security, which is currently 62?
No.
Representative Byrd.
No.
And for you, Representative Byrd, should there be work requirements for Medicaid recipients?
No.
Representative Rutinel.
No.
Representative Rutinel, would you support a national limit on gun magazine size like Colorado's 15-round limit?
Yes.
Representative Byrd.
Yes.
Representative Byrd, should there be a federal ban on the sale of so-called assault weapons?
If it's enforceable and constitutional, yes.
Representative Rutinel.
Yes.
Representative Rutinel, do you support increasing the federal minimum wage?
Absolutely.
Representative Byrd.
Yes.
Representative Byrd, if there is a measure on the November ballot, you alluded to this earlier, imposing a graduated income tax rate in Colorado, would you vote yes on it?
Yes.
Representative Rutinel.
Yes.
Representative Rutinel, would you support a federal ban on hydraulic fracturing, also known as fracking?
I believe in all of the above energy solution.
Is that a yes or no?
I think that we need to be able to have an all of the above energy solution.
So you wouldn't support a ban on fracking?
I would not.
Representative Byrd.
No.
We are now at the point of the debate where we're going to let the candidates ask each other a question, and each candidate will have 30 seconds to ask their question, and a minute. The other candidate will have a minute and a half to respond. Representative Byrd, you're up first.
Great. Representative Rutinel, I see your television commercials on air telling people that you fought to save and protect Medicaid, but your vote is otherwise. And I'm wondering if you can explain to us how voting to cut Medicaid is actually saving it for people and fighting for it.
The issue of Medicaid is unbelievably personal for me. I grew up on Medicaid since I was 10 years old. Donald Trump cut Medicaid. Gabe Evans cut Medicaid. I worked with my Democratic colleagues to save Medicaid. The only reason why you weren't involved in that vote was because you quit the legislature to be able to focus on your personal ambitions. This is the moment that we need real leadership in Congress to fight back against Donald Trump and Gabe Evans's cut to our most important programs, and I will fight with everything I've got to do that.
Yeah, you can have 30 seconds.
Again, I've already answered why I resigned from the legislature. I don't think it's right to take a taxpayer-funded salary and benefits when you're spending the majority of your time running for Congress. The candidate here, the people here deserve somebody who's going to fight for you. And again, bringing this up one more time is, I want you to see it for what it is. It's Manny Rutinel trying to distract from a record that he can't defend himself.
I'll give you 30 seconds, Mr. Rutinel.
We voted to save Medicaid when Donald Trump and Gabe Evans cut it. We had a budget shortfall. We made important decisions to be able to save Medicaid for our constituencies. This is a moment where we need fighters, and we need fighters at the federal level to undo the harms that Donald Trump and Gabe Evans have done to our communities.
Representative Rutinel, you can now ask your question of Representative Byrd.
Representative Byrd, this district was drawn in large part for Latino representation. Colorado, as a state, is 25% Latino. This district is 40% Latino. Why do you not want Latino representation in Colorado's Congress?
I want everyone to know that in this district, this is a place where my husband and I have raised our children. I've lived in what is now Colorado's 8th for nearly 25 years. I was a long-time, years-long community volunteer well before I ever considered running for office. I know this community and I know this district so well. We need representation who knows the community. And during my campaign, I understand and recognize how crucial the Latino community is in Colorado's 8th. It's why I've prioritized community outreach to the Latino community, engaging with their small businesses, going to community events that I know are so important to Latinos in this district, and actually visiting all many corners of Colorado's 8th district. It's crucial that we know the people we want to represent. I'm doing that work so that I can be ready on day one to be a representative who fights for you and is ready to go on day one.
Ya escuchó las respuestas de los precandidatos. Quien resulte victorioso en las primarias se enfrentará al republicano Gabe Evans en las elecciones de noviembre. Estuvo en sintonía de Camino al Congreso.